All right, today we're going to talk about a really big shift in the world of corporate finance, and that's SAP S/4HANA. Now, this isn't just some software patch or a minor update. We're talking about a fundamental change in what the finance department can be, transforming it from a team that just reports on the past into a genuine strategic co-pilot for the entire business. Let's dive in.
So, to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to start with a question that's kind of plagued big companies for decades. Why is it that the finance department, with all its data, spends most of its time just telling us what already happened? Why are they always looking in the rearview mirror instead of at the road ahead?
Well, a lot of these challenges are baked right into the old way of doing things, into the very architecture of traditional financial systems. For years, all this complexity wasn't a problem to be solved, it was just how things were done. And it kept finance teams totally bogged down, just trying to keep up with the past.
I bet this screen looks painfully familiar to a lot of you. You know the drill, right? Your financial data is in one silo, your controlling data is in another, asset data is who knows where. This means tons of slow, manual work just to make sure the numbers match up. And by the time you actually get a report, the information is already stale. The bottom line, it was nearly impossible to get one single version of the truth.
Okay, so S/4HANA comes along and says, let's not just patch this, let's rebuild the entire foundation. It creates a new digital core for the business. And right at the very center of that core is one single revolutionary idea.
And that idea is called the Universal Journal. Honestly, just think of it as the ultimate act of simplification. Instead of having all these different ledgers and books that you have to constantly cross-reference and reconcile, S/4HANA Finance creates one single source of truth for every single financial transaction. Period.
The difference is just night and day. On the left, you've got the old way, this tangled web of separate ledgers, data being copied all over the place, and these slow, overnight batch jobs to try and sort it all out. And on the right, the S/4HANA way, one single table. No more duplicate data. And reconciliation happens instantly, in real time. The moment a transaction hits, it's reflected everywhere, correctly. That's the key. Now, if you want to get a little technical for a second, this Universal Journal is actually a single database table called ACDOCA. And its main job is to merge two worlds that for the longest time were kept completely separate. Financial accounting, which is for your external reporting, and controlling, which is for your internal management decisions. Bringing them together into one table just vaporizes all that reconciliation work that used to slow everything to a crawl.
And it doesn't even stop there. The Universal Journal pulls in data from asset accounting, the material ledger, and even super detailed profitability analysis. All of these different areas which used to live in their own little worlds are now all together, harmonized in one spot. It gives you this incredible ability to drill down from a high-level report all the way to a single line item.
So, okay, we've got this beautiful, simplified data model. That's great. But the real question is, what does that actually do? What does it unlock for the business? Well, this is where we start talking about the power of real-time.
This new architecture is what makes the big transformation possible. Because all the data is in one place and it's available right now, your finance team can stop wasting all their time just gathering and cleaning up data. They can finally start spending their time analyzing it, finding insights, and actually guiding the business into the future.
So what does this intelligent finance actually look like in the real world? Well, because you have AI and machine learning built right in, the system can start making some pretty powerful predictions. I mean, imagine being able to accurately forecast your cash flow for the next quarter, or getting an alert about a risk before it becomes a crisis. That's the kind of forward-looking power we're talking about.
Let's make this super practical. Say you're a department manager. In the old days, you'd find out you were over budget at the end of the month, when it was too late. Now, you can run a simulation on the spot. The system looks at your spending so far, and it uses AI to predict where you're going to end up by the end of the year. This gives you the chance to course correct today, not a month from now.
And here's the kicker. All this incredible insight isn't buried in some clunky, old-school interface that only a power user can figure out. Nope. It's all delivered through a modern, clean Fiori interface that works on your computer, your tablet, your phone, so you can get these insights literally anywhere you are.
Now, this all sounds fantastic for a single, streamlined company. But what about the real world? What about those massive global corporations that have been around for decades, growing through acquisitions, and are now running a dozen different disconnected systems?
Yeah, for that exact messy scenario, SAP created something called Central Finance.
The best way to think about it is like a financial hub or a grand central station for your data. It lets a huge company connect all their different ERP systems, even old SAP ones and non-SAP systems, and replicate the financial data into one central S/4HANA system, all without having to do a massive, disruptive rip and replace of everything at once.
You can imagine, for a CFO, the benefits here are just massive. You finally get that single source of truth for the entire global company. You can analyze profitability across every region using the same rules. And maybe best of all, when you buy a new company, that integration nightmare, it just gets so much simpler and faster.
So let's talk about everybody's favorite process, the month-end close. With a unified system like this, that whole painful ordeal gets so much faster and smarter. All those manual, tedious tasks, like intercompany reconciliation, they can be automated. That means the final consolidated reports can be sitting on the CFO's dashboard in near real time, not weeks later.
Okay, so the tech is impressive, the theory is sound, but what does this actually mean for a real business? What's the tangible impact on the people who actually have to use this stuff every day?
So let's look at a classic case. We've got a huge multinational company, and they are struggling. They're trying to get a clear picture of their own finances, but they're running eight different legacy ERP systems all over the world. Just getting a basic report was a total nightmare.
So, how'd they fix it? Well, first, they put in central finance to get that single, unified view of all their data. Then they rolled out real-time dashboards to their executives for instant insights. After that, they automated that painful closing process and started using predictive analytics to get a better handle on their cash and risk.
And the result of all that? Get this, a 70% reduction in the time it took to generate financial reports across the whole company. I mean, that is an absolute game changer. Think of all the hours that frees up for people to do actual strategic work.
And, a massive technological shift like this doesn't just change how companies work, it changes careers too. It's not just about old jobs evolving, it's creating brand new, high-value roles. People who specialize in central finance, or who are experts in predictive treasury, or the solution architects who can design these whole systems, these people are now in incredibly high demand.
Which really brings us to this final thought. I think the absolute best way to think about S/4HANA Finance is to see it as a cockpit for the CFO. It's not a rearview mirror anymore, it's a full control panel that gives you real-time visibility into the business, the levers and controls to actually steer it, and the predictive tools to see what's coming up over the horizon.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. In the world we live in today, a world that moves so fast, is it really enough for your finance team to just be a historian, perfectly recording what happened in the past? Or does your business need them to be a co-pilot, sitting right there in the cockpit, helping you navigate what comes next?